little bit about Pit People. Looks much different from Castle Crashers, what you guys are really known for.
So Pit People is our fourth game. It's a fast-paced, turn-based co-op adventure is what we refer to it as. It's really a game that's the Behemoth, or our take on the turn-based strategy genre, and it's really about, we like to refer to it as a game of positioning. So with kind of like this strategy and turn-based stuff, there's a lot of minutia and details you usually have to control. We've simplified it, and as I mentioned, it's about where you put your fighters when in battle, and where you place them determines what they're going to do. And
not really, as you see, they attack whoever they like.
Oh yeah. When I say place them, that's more if you want to try and isolate, but more or less, yeah, you're gonna tell them where to go, execute your orders, then they're gonna do whatever the heck they want.
Once they're there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice change of pace too. Like I said, for your other games, they're all pretty much like go in and smash and grab kind of.
Yeah, like all the previous ones are all very Twitch-based games, so it's nice to have this one where you could kind of like think and take a breath,
right?
And interject a little bit more humor and story here and there. Like this game is by far like the most story we've ever had.
Yeah, that was one thing I did notice during the demo. There was a lot of story, and I mean, it's funny. I like it. There's a lot of different things that are happening in there, like you were telling us about. There's this cosmic space bear during the demo.
Yeah, so in the intro, in the beginning opening cinematic, there's this event, I guess you call it, in space, where this celestial being, cosmic space bear, is killed in space and hits the planet, thus fracturing it into hexes, and its blood is literally raining down on the Earth, and it has these cosmic qualities and it's distorting time and space, and hence why there's this mishmash of people and places like from all different eras. So you're going to see space shuttles, you're going to see flying giraffes, you're going to see people with swords fighting people with laser guns. What else is in there?
Uzis. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
Different time explorers coming all over Columbus status.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Sophia from Spain, and then a bunch of really weird creatures like obviously like talking cupcakes that heal you with their frosting, with their cream, or there's also talking robots from the future you could play as, who are like teleporters and shoot electricity. We have vampires, we have zombies, we have
a plethora of things.
Gorgons, octoclops. Yeah, a lot of fun stuff.
It's kind of pulled from everything. You guys didn't really limit yourself on this. You're like, if it's cool, we're having it in here.
Yeah, I wish we just made a shirt with all of them on it. I should have grabbed it. I'll grab it later. It's a good visual aid for explaining.
I have to see that. So you did say that it's your first really like story-driven game. Was this the type where, you know, because you were telling me when the bears smash into the planet, that's why you have hexagons, and this is why it's kind of turn-based. Is your story driving the gameplay, or is your gameplay driving the story?
That's a good question. The game always started first as the gameplay came first, I should say. We wanted the early ideas. It came out like right when we finished Battle Block Theater. Dan Paladin, who's one of the co-founders, and you know all the games, his signature art style, 2D art style, and his design had this basic concept of kind of a team management game. If you have this team and it was like a gladiatorial fighting game where you just give them very sparse, simple orders like fight or defend, and they just go and do stuff. So it started with that basic concept, and as we started fleshing out all the units and the gameplay, then these characters evolved out of it. We're like, this person is Horatio, and it came out really organically, where we had these. We created a character, like say Horatio was first, and then started like coming up with these funny backstories, and then as we started to write that, then the bear came into play, because the bear is actually a direct reference to Battle Block Theater, the ending of Battle Block Theater, and so we wanted to kind of continue that what happened at that point, and kind of brought in mythology. So they kind of drive each other, where once we started creating this like story and this very diverse world, eclectic world, then it kind of gave us opportunities to write in more even crazier stuff. So the two kind of co-facilitated each other, I'd say.
I noticed the story doesn't really get too caught up in itself, which I enjoy. It's just kind of like, look, we're moving it along for you to also play, but also it's not supposed to be something where like, hurry, sure just lost the son at the beginning of the demo. We're not going to get into this really big character development ploy of like revenge and everything else.
Yeah.
It's more just kind of like, this is how we're moving it so you can see it.
Yeah, absolutely. The demo is also our tutorial. It's also our story introduction. We worked really hard to like interweave the two in what we think is a kind of a seamless manner. But but for the most part, like, that's why we call it a fast-paced tournament. We want you to feel like you're progressing along, moving along, and stuff is happening, and you're not getting caught up too much in stuff. But the story does feature, all the individual main four characters. They all each have story arcs that you'll get to learn more about.
Okay.
But before now, it's like, let's meet everybody, let's learn how to play, let's introduce you to a very ridiculous world concept, give a little exposition, and then, but most of all, get people playing or understand the controls and how that works. Because it is like a little bit, for some people, like they want to be able to do, like, I want to be able to specifically like press a button and just like disconnecting from like our past games and introducing this style of gameplay.
Right. So besides gameplay, how else is Pit People different from past projects?
Oh man.
You're like everything.
It's the most amount of kind of like we did narration in BattleBlock, so we had narration again. But we did a lot of fun stuff with like a lot of the voices. So every character has a unique kind of gibberish voice. You probably heard.
I love the gibberish. Yeah, that's real good.
So creating like individual like sonic identities for each of those, for each of the different types of fighters, for humans to vampires to cupcakes. Like, what are they going to sound like? So that's something very new. There's a lot, like, this is the first game where we gave people headphones at a trade show. Usually we just walk up, play, blast the music. So it's like, no, there's a lot of characterization that you want to. And so, people become very partial to these unique characters. And because there are so many different, it's like, that's another thing, is like people have like favorites. I mean, I guess in Castle, people are like, oh, I love the red knight, or I love the pink knight.
But those are colors, though.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not personalized.
Exactly. And this one, it's like, I love Pipistrella, and I'm gonna keep her mallet, but I like her with green hair and this style of shield. So there's also the customization, obviously, and that's another good part. There's the customization, and with that, the team management. So you could have, I think I mentioned there's 6 slots. Some fighters take up multiple. So you saw that kind of giant Cyclops. If you're
counts as 2.
Yeah, counts as 2, exactly.
Yep.
And some even take up 3.
Yeah. Ooh.
But you don't just have just those 6. You actually have this dungeon. Talk about recruiting. You have this dungeon, and you could have these literally like hundreds of fighters, and then you can pick and choose your active team roster. So there's a lot of like collectible aspects to it.
Which is great, because everything so far has been like really side scroller. You kind of go through it, you play it, and then what I really noticed about Pit People is like it's taking cues from RPGs. Here's your team. Build your team. Here's an open map. Explore your map.
Exactly.
Go into which areas you want to go into.
Yeah.
Which I think is really new for your team.
And that's definitely another one where we had very Alien, Castle, and BattleBlock. They're for the most. I was about to say for the most part they're linear. They are linear. I mean, in Castle we had a world map in Castle, and once everything was unlocked, you could kind of bounce around. But with this, it's exactly that. There's going to be a lot of bonus quests in the game that some relate to the story, some don't. You can go and explore, do little quests, but always come back to the main storyline and progress at your own pace.
Right. So this is really actually your first RPG.
I guess so.
RPG.
Yeah. That's what I mean. People, we've heard that one. It's like with RPG like comes some stuff, but yeah, I mean it. Like, I'm not officially saying it's a tactical RPG, but that's one way to describe it.
The vibe that I get off of it personally is the tactical
It's
RPG.
interesting, the RPG elements, because like even Castle has light RPG like very light RPG elements with the leveling, this and that, and customization and questing, but yeah, it always those things we were obviously fans of, and it just like to creep back up into the game as we're making it. So yeah, that is one way. Tactical kind of implies, again, kind of that minutia, but it's funny.
You've had this discussion, obviously, on the team.
Admittedly, this has been a good discussion. And, it's a turn-based strategy. No, it's a tactical RPG. Well, it's a little of all of those things. How do we describe this?
Why not both? Okay. And then, you guys are definitely delving into new territory with Pit People. What was probably one of the biggest obstacles that you guys had just developing the game?
With this one, it's the sheer amount of writing involved. I think we weren't ready for it.
You're like, this was not what we were thinking about.
But it's a ton of, don't get me wrong, it's a ton of fun. And something with this has a very delicate balance in terms of balancing all the different fighters. And like I said, it's a with I think anything in the strategy or with different types of units that have different have bonuses against each other, and that rock paper scissors. It's just a delicate balance, and when you tweak that, it has a ripple effect.
Right.
And so whenever we or Dan Paladin tweak something, it's like we have to it falls under a lot of scrutiny. So it's maintaining the balance throughout the whole life cycle of the project, and tuning those knobs is a definite challenge, and also AI that's challenging, where it's not just like, hey, there's about a bunch of people like cats coming at you if it's battle block or other night creatures. It's with this one, it's like, what's the Cyclops going to do? What's their individual strategies as a AI as well? So, but with all those challenges, it's been a lot of fun. It's like, this is so new to us. And
right. New adventure.
So it's a lot of fun.
That's great. And then when we were playing the demo, I noticed there's a lot of different elements in the game. Capturing, recruiting, kidnapping, however you guys want to call it.
It's recruiting.
Recruiting cupcakes. So we only recruited one cupcake, but you did mention you'd be able to actually fill out your roster more.
Yes.
So it's more than just 6. You have a primary 6, but you can pretty much cycle through your teams accordingly.
Exactly, and you can actually have different roster templates. Templates is a bad word. Lineups. Let's say lineups.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, this is my high output whatever team. This is my tanky team. This is my team with 2 healers and whatever. This is my range team. So yeah, you can have all those presets saved as you go. So as you have hundreds of different fighters, like I said, robots, cyclopses, octoclopses, kobolds, gnomes. We have these cute little gnomes, and they can heal they're only a fighter that can heal the robot, but then they can also launch you, so they can displace you. So if there's a big gate or something, they can throw you over.
I did notice that in the demo, that Cyclops that we were fighting, or whomever was the big guy, kept displacing the team. Yeah.
So you could go through and just go, and that's what we think is gonna be a huge part is just people just collecting all of these different people become super attached. I want a cupcake named Abe, or I really want a Cyclops named Zorbital, and that's all randomized. So there's just this infinite amount of creatures out there with different fun names that we all wrote.
Now, do the creatures have different stats as well, or is everything kind of based?
Oh no, they have. Well, they're going to be baseline. A lot of with the creatures, it's very specific. The human is the most versatile with the different swords and stuff like that. But most of the creatures are more, you could customize their look and feel, but their stats are definitely more baseline because they have a very specific ability.
For it, okay, for that specific role. And then there was, again, tons of different elements in the game besides it just being tactical and while you're playing and the adventure. Recruiting your team members is one. Is there other features in the game that we didn't see in the demo that we'd be able to access eventually?
Yeah, so there's going to be we're talking about now, a whole tournament. So we went into the pit, which was the arena, and there you could play either PvP or against the AI. But we have this fun tournament system now going where every day it resets, but once you go participate in one of those battles, then you're placed into this giant bucket or bracket, right? And within there's 3 tiers. And however well you do during the course of it, and you're going to get spoils or tournament rewards. So it's not like a classic head-to-head bracket system where these 2 fight and the winner of that plays the winner of this.
Right.
It's just your daily kind of leaderboard ranking within there, and depending on how you do, we reward the player with pin points, and with pin points, then they get rewards, so more loot and gold.
Hence the title of the game too. Pit people.
Yeah. Oh, and we have pit people, exactly. Pit people and pit points. And there's also spectating is something new we tried, where you could just go in and watch people play, and to give the spectator something to do is they can actually bet on individual fighters.
Very nice. So the game is going to be able to be like community driven and interactive.
Absolutely.
Great. Because usually, like most of the other games, since they've been very linear, as you were saying, the most like I feel is like they're great when you're playing with other people physically with you, like in another room or another console, or maybe if you're hooked up online. But there was really no sense of like bringing in a really large community into the game.
Yeah.
Versus pit people, it seems like you are like people, multitude of people coming in and watching, playing, spectating.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the thing, like we learned, like we did UGC with Battle Block, but people would do interesting stuff where like they wanted to trade in Castle Crashers, right? And we had no trading system. They would just like go on the forums, be like, hey, anybody want to trade? And then they go into a game, which is just like a normal game, and drop and then trade. And so we're like, well, we should probably support stuff like this. So moving forward, we have like, you could do online just trading only, like go like meet with other people who want to trade. Like you said, just more of these community aspects, especially with the tournaments. You're going to go on this leaderboard and you're going to see all these people who you're competing against and don't know. And yeah, it's all just kind of doing more, creating the community, being part of the pit people, so to speak.
Yeah, being part of like the pit people communication.
Yeah, that's it. Like you hit it on the nose, and that's what we want. We want people to kind of go in and have fun and have more stuff to do and interact with others.
I mean, it obviously looks like you're going to be able to do that between recruiting and having your own parties. Now, your primaries that you have in character-wise, you said there was only 4 primaries?
Yes.
So just the 4, and then the other 2 in your parties are pretty much your recruiters kidnapping.
Exactly. However you want to round out your
whoever
team.
You want on that.
And like
one.
Gloon's there too. You don't really follow Gloon, but once you have Gloon forever. Unless you trade Gloon away, but yeah, we don't go into Gloon's like backstory or anything. Like,
so just the primary 4, and then any 2 from there that you want to go ahead and capture.
But you don't always have to. You don't have to use the primary 4. You could make a team of just all rainbow horses or all whatever.
I'm probably going to end up doing that. Now that you mentioned that, I'm going to go in all rainbow horses at this point.
Which is part of the fun when you battle. When we play each other, it's always like, oh my gosh, what are they going to bring? What are they going to bring? And then like you go and like, and that was one of the kind of like ideas we wanted to capture of like. Of that whole gladiatorial aspect of the ridiculousness of like humans versus 2 tigers or whatever, although that's terrible and sad for them. Don't do that in real life, only in the game world. So that kind of thing, it was like, oh, this person brought like all zombies, and the zombie fighters actually are half units, so you can have up to 12. So you load into a battle, it says like fight, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's 12 zombies that you have to figure out, because they can just kind of swarm you, but they have lower XP. So there's that give and take.
What's the most interesting comp that you've seen someone take in?
Most interesting combo?
Or just one where you were like, I don't believe I have to do this.
When people bring multiple healers, it's always scary, because they're just undoing everything that you do. Yeah. So the multi-healer is always interesting. I like to use a combination of gnomes, because I really like to throw people and do little strategic displacement things. So I get comments when I come with that. I'm trying to think. Use of spiders. So we have the spider unit where you could ride them, and what she does is she spits webs and creates walls. So that's an always interesting one, where when someone comes out with that and they're just kind of like boxing you in a certain area. It's all over the place. I'm sure we're going to see lots of weird team compositions once we release to the wild in the beta.
Once you have more hands in there, it's interesting to see.
The all of one thing is always scary.
Yeah.
That's when you just see they're like, but it's best to keep a mixed composition, just because you never know what the other person's going to bring. So it's like the kind of something for everything.
Balance in that sense. when are you currently, right now it's just betas that everyone's playing, but does the community have access to be able to like play each other? Like, is there a run through for that right now? Or
currently, or for the upcoming beta? You mean?
I'm sorry?
Oh, for the upcoming beta, will they be able to? Oh yeah, to play each other?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's like our main focus is kind of online play. So all the main modes are going to be fully accessible during the beta.
Oh, for the upcoming beta, all the modes would be accessible.
Yeah.
That's great. Usually everyone just wants to be like, just a single campaign, maybe like one or two of these.
No, so that's the thing. We're actually like you'll get a little bit of story, but not all or half or anything like that. That's the thing we kind of keep back, but there's so many different ways to play the game. Like I said, like PvP or co-op against the player, campaign or trading only. So we're just let everybody have at it and see how it goes, see what breaks.
So what's the most exciting thing for you with Pit People that you want to see happen?
That would just be for me. I'm excited to see all the team compositions and to see, like I said, delicate balance. It's going to be interesting to see what fighters people connect with and kind of go for. So I'm excited to go out there and just play people who I haven't been playing, on a weekly, daily basis,
right.
And to see how good. Because that's the thing, it's amazing. Like, people get so good
at it really quick,
so quickly, and it blows my mind. Even with games like I've been playing this with Battle Block. Like, I played that game for years, and I thought I was really good. And within 2 days, I was struggling. So I'm like, how do people get so good so fast? It's amazing.
This is my job.
Yeah, but it's bad. But it's great. It's amazing, and it's amazing to see people's skill levels just shoot up. So,
and it's also like a testament. It's also like a testament to you guys too, where it's like someone's putting in all that time and effort into your work, into your game, because they enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
So it's like for every good player, it's like a badge for you guys. Like, they're committed, and you're committed to them, delivering to them as well. So I mean, it's a really huge compliment, even though you get beat.
Yeah, exactly. So that, and then again, there's so many different ways you can play. I just want to see what people naturally gravitate to. Is going to be interesting. Like, we thought we made a varied kind of experience, but people play differently. So
everyone plays differently, and I think that's what I really enjoy so far about Pit People and like playing that demo is it's such a large game. You don't necessarily have to go through the campaign the entire time. If you want to go through and recruit the entire time, you can, or if you want to spend time in the arena, you have that option.
Exactly.
So you can play the game how you want to play it, and it doesn't necessarily limit you to staying into that one thing. You can progress according to your playstyle.
Exactly.
Perfect. Let's see. I don't think I have anything else. What is your biggest hopes for Pit People, though? We'll end on that question.
Biggest hopes. Interesting. Biggest hopes. That people, I think that people pick up this genre of game who don't normally play the genre. That's. I think we have an interesting take on it, both visually and gameplay wise. And I just hope it. My hope is that it connects and resonates with players who wouldn't normally play that, and just to see. It's just purely selfish. Like, I want to see what fighter is going to be the most popular, because one will rise, one will be the go-to.
Going to be your popular one,
someone's going to rise,
and it's going to be Gluten.
Probably.
It's a cupcake.
And to just have an awesome beta, and with our beta for Xbox One, and just announced beta for Steam at the end of September as well.
Perfect. So when is beta for Xbox One?
That one is... I need a cheat sheet. I'm cheating because September 8th through 15th, and then the Steam beta will be September 28th to October 5th.
And then we're still hoping somewhere in 2017 for launch?
No release date as of yet, but we're doing betas for 2 platforms, which we've never done before, so, I'll let that speak for itself in terms of where we are with the project.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.